The Republican establishment acts bewildered, but they should not be bewildered. As much as they may try to distance themselves from Trump now, Republican leaders are responsible for his rise. For 8 years, they drained all the oxygen from the policy debate in this country by replacing thoughtful engagement with resentment and with hatred. This is exactly the kind of mindless behavior that has hollowed out our political debate and created the conditions for Trump to rise. Republicans leaders created the drought conditions. Donald Trump has simply struck the match. Republicans began charting the path to Donald Trump 8 years ago.
That was Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid lambasting the rise of Donald Trump and blaming the GOP for its success. Of course, it's the same old playbook stuff that we've seen a lot about the evil, racist GOP, except this time the Dems probably feel that Donald Trump is a better poster boy for it. Joining me now, Richard Goodstein, Erick Erickson, Boris Epshteyn, and Vince Coglianese. Let me start with you, Richard. Listen, they've already gone to the old playbook, you know, GOP racist, and they've elevated one of their own. And I know they're going to flog this thing hot and heavy until election, but it already feels like it's starting to backfire.
Really? So which part of these arguments that Democrats are making is part of the old playbook and is not mainstream? Not disavowing a white supremacist group, protecting women's rights,
I think he's done that about a dozen times by now, but I've lost count. Go ahead.
No, well, I'm just saying, so which of these things is not mainstream, Charles? Is protecting voters' rights not mainstream? Is disavowing? Look, remember Donald Trump was happy to disavow David Duke, but when he was asked the question, which white supremacist groups do you disavow? He said, tell me which ones you're talking about. My question would be, okay, Donald, which ones are you happy to have support from? So when you talk about the old playbook, you're right. We have never had a candidate for president who struggled with the question of which racist groups to disavow.
Let me bring in a Trump supporter. Boris, I mean, where is he getting this wrong? We know that each side that they have to bring the opposition. They need to do whatever and say whatever, but where is he getting all this wrong?
Oh, Richard, you mean?
Yeah.
Richard's getting it all wrong. When we've been on together a lot, so he's a friend, and I'm not going to be too mean about it.
No, be mean.
It's all wrong. It's all incorrect. And the fact of the matter is, the talk about the KKK and supremacist groups is old news. Donald Trump has won primary after primary since that failed hit against them. He disavowed, just as you said, the KKK time and time again, and he said repeatedly that he does not want that endorsement or endorsement of any white supremacist or racist, or whatever you want to call it.
But what do you think of the notion, though, that Donald Trump is a sexist, racist? He's all the ists that are out there, and I got to tell you, to a degree, it's working on some of these polls. And I look at these poll numbers. There's a new one out, Reuters. 50% of women have a very negative impression of Donald Trump, up from 40%. To a degree, it feels like it might be working for the Democrats.
So if we win 50% of women in this election, and it's going to go up.
No, that's very negative. That's not the negative. That's just a very negative. I mean, so it's a very slender amount that have a positive view of him.
But then you said that if those people are very negative, you could say someone could change their mind, but the other 50 are open to voting for Donald Trump. So if we could win 50, and even peel away some of the other ones, we're going to do very well. And also, Donald Trump is going to be so strong in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, with those blue-collar Democrats, that it's going to make up for some of the other shortcomings.
Vince, how do you see it?
I think, you know, Harry Reid is making an attack here that Republicans are the reason that Donald Trump exists. But what he's missing is really the Democrats are also very, very responsible for the existence of Donald Trump as a politician. Donald Trump exists in a large part because political correctness, the kind that Harry Reid has been preaching for many, many years, accusing even the most basic idiocies of being racist or bigoted or whatever, just using this time over and over and over again. You get a guy like Donald Trump in and starts flipping tables and saying whatever's on his mind, and people find that uniquely refreshing in an environment where the Democratic Party especially has created a culture of censorship. Well, Erick, people in the United States feel like they can't talk at all.
You guys don't find it uniquely refreshing, but do you feel like in an odd way you're now joining forces with Harry Reid?
No, you know, I would agree with Harry Reid that the Republicans helped contribute to Donald Trump, but not for the reasons he says. I think it's because the Republicans have been breaking a lot of promises over the last 8 years. I mean, they promised to repeal Obamacare. They promised to fight the president on immigration. They promised to fight the president on the budget. And instead, they gave him a blank check. They passed immigration fights off to the court, and they've continued to fund Obamacare. So, yeah, I mean, voters are really mad at the Republicans. Look at the exit polling, and you've got 60% of Republicans on average saying that they're angry with the Republicans. You've got 55% of Republicans on average saying they're angry with Washington in general. So more anger towards the Republicans than Washington. So, of course, voters want an alternative. I think they're picking a flawed one in Trump, but I totally understand that they're hacked off at the Republicans.
Yeah, I think this midterm result was the last straw for them. Real quick, Boris.
So the kind of meetings we're seeing in Washington, the super-duper secret meetings, are the reason that Trump is having so much support. People are tired of the same old politics in Washington. That's why he's winning. That's why he's going to be our nominee.
Boris, that would all be true if he weren't the most reviled candidate ever to run for national office.
Congratulations,
and, you know,
Richard.
you can discount the polls, but the fact of the matter is, by any accounting,
the polling does
Donald Trump,
less favorable.
Donald Trump is more unpopular than
Richard,
anybody
you're
who's ever
coming
run.
back, so we'll pick this up.